This video is sponsored by Clean My Mac X. The Pixelbook Go was announced last week at Google's event alongside the Pixel 4 and 4 XL. And my first thought when I looked at it was, wow, the Pixelbook Go looks a lot like a MacBook Air, or at least the Chromebook version of it. And so in this video, we're going to try to answer the question of whether or not the Pixelbook Go could be a MacBook Air alternative. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications whenever we share a video. The Pixelbook Go model that I have here starts at $849, which seems a lot for a Chromebook, but it does come with a better Intel Core i5 processor over the entry-level $649 version, which has a M3 processor, and the model that I have here also has 128 gigs of storage as opposed to the 64 gigs found on that entry-level model. Both models do come with 8 gigabytes of RAM, which handles Chrome OS very well, but I'm not sure if the M3 processor offers up any lag or performance issues. The i5 model has been doing really well for me so far, and so I really haven't experienced any problems. There are a few other Pixelbook Go models, but they're a lot more expensive, the most notable being the $1,399 version that has a 4K display, a better processor, and double the storage and RAM. But I'm not sure you really need all of that hardware to run Chrome OS. But the one thing I do wish that this Pixelbook Go model had was a slightly better display. Don't get me wrong, this 13.3-inch display isn't terrible by any means, but it is full HD and it doesn't really hold much weight when you pin it up against the 13-inch display that's found on the Retina MacBook Air. The screen can get plenty bright, however, but if you're a pixel fiend like I am, you're going to be pixel peeping really hard and you're going to be slightly disappointed. The rest of the display is very MacBook Air-esque, as you have some very small side bezels, but then some larger top and bottom bezels. Overall, though, I really do like the design of the Go. It's clean, simple, and elegant, especially for a Chromebook, which is usually a little bit clunky and meant to be beat up by kids at school. The top of the Pixelbook Go has a G logo signifying that it's made by Google, and the bottom has this really cool wavy bumpy texture to it. It definitely helps enhance your grip since this laptop is very slippery because it's really smooth all around. There's this coating that gives it this smooth look and feel, even though it's made out of metal. When you open it up, you'll definitely notice there's some more MacBook style inspiration, especially in this keyboard layout. This keyboard is very, very quiet. It's amazing to type on and has just the right amount of key travel to it so that it doesn't feel super mushy. I think this might be one of the most impressive parts about the Pixelbook Go. However, I am still very much a fan of the MacBook butterfly switches, so every time I switch between the Go and the MacBook, I really still do like the MacBook keyboard. The top row has some custom keys for going back, reloading a web page, full screen, brightness, controlling media, etc. One of my favorite keys is the Google Assistant button, which gives me quick access to the Assistant so that I can actually type to it instead of using voice commands. This is helpful if you're in an area that does not lend to speaking to your laptop very well, like if you're in a coffee shop and you don't want to look crazy talking to your laptop, you can just hit the button and then type out whatever command you want. Of course, if you want, you can still use the voice command to activate the Assistant anytime that you want. There are dual speakers flanking each side of the Go, which also still reminds me a lot of a MacBook Air, as you can see here. And the speakers sound really good. Probably some of the best that I've heard in a Chromebook for sure, and probably some of the better speakers on a laptop this size. In fact, at times it was able to get a little bit louder at full volume than the MacBook Air, but I do think the sound quality from the MacBook at high volumes is a little bit better than the Go. Regardless, you're not going to be disappointed by these speakers. As far as the trackpad goes, this is where I get a little bit disappointed because nothing really beats the artificial click that you get from a MacBook over an actual physical trackpad button. The Pixelbook Go's trackpad just feels clunky and outdated. With that said, it's still a good traditional trackpad, it's just not like the Force Touch trackpad that you see on a MacBook. Inside the Go, you do have a battery that's said to offer up to 12 hours of battery life. This isn't quite true, or at least not something that I've been able to get, but it is the same claim that Apple says that you get with your MacBook Air. And while my Air only lasts me about anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, depending on what I'm working on, the Pixelbook Go has been steadily reaching 8 hours plus of battery life, which is very nice. There's also a quick charge feature, which offers up to 2 hours worth of battery in just a 20-minute charge if you use the included USB-C power adapter. Speaking of USB-C, I almost forgot to mention, there are 2 USB-C ports, one on each side of the Pixelbook Go, as well as a 3.5mm headphone jack. Finally, we have Chrome OS running the whole show. And if you're using a Chromebook, you're most likely doing a lot of what Chrome OS is good at, which is writing, creating documents or slideshows for work or school. And that's, again, what this device is really made for. And it really does a good job in this department. The software is limited compared to something like a MacBook, which can run full Mac OS. So really, I can't compare these two, at least in software, because there's just no comparison. One can do a lot more than the other. But most people who buy a low-end MacBook Air, and I could be completely out of touch or wrong on this, but I'm assuming that most people buy a MacBook Air, they're probably doing a lot of the same things that people use a Chromebook for. They're creating documents, slideshows, emails, etc. And while you could edit videos or create some media or graphics on a MacBook Air, for most creative professionals, it's just not enough power, so you're probably not using that as your main machine. You do have the ability to download Android apps on the Pixelbook Go, and there are some creative tools and apps out there for editing videos, photos, etc. But it's not something that you probably want to do full-time on a Chromebook. So at the end of the day, should you buy a Pixelbook Go over a MacBook Air? That's kind of a loaded question. I'm not trying to take a cop-out here, but I'd have to say probably not, especially if we're talking about a difference of only $100 to $200 as some Go models could be compared to the MacBook Air. There's no doubt that the Pixelbook Go is pricey. It's a lot more expensive than other Chromebooks out on the market, but it's also one of the nicer Chromebooks that you're gonna buy, at least in terms of design, hardware, and that full Google experience. If you're a Pixel 4 owner or any Pixel owner, your phone and laptop will integrate seamlessly together, and it offers up some features that other Chromebooks and phones can't do together, like instant tethering and the ability to use your Pixel to unlock your machine. However, at $849, at least for the model that I have here, I'd probably still have to recommend you'd pick up a MacBook Air for slightly more at $999, just because of its ability to run full Mac OS. Again, that's not to say that this Pixelbook isn't any good. It's just hard to recommend at $849. Maybe you could pick up the entry-level model, which is still a little bit high for my liking, but it's definitely more reasonable. And if you're a Chromebook fan, you're gonna get one of the best Chromebook experiences that you can get. So I'd love to know your thoughts though. Do you use a Chromebook? Do you use a Chromebook over a Mac specifically? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, before we end today's video, I do want to give you more information about today's sponsor, Clean My Mac. If you updated to macOS Catalina or are thinking about doing it soon, Clean My Mac X is the must-have utility for preparing a Mac for the update. Clean My Mac X deletes system junk, unseen apps, and hidden clutter from your Mac, and it gives you more storage space. Clean My Mac can also help you speed up your Mac, not only by removing all those junk files and programs from your system, but also by offering optimization and maintenance features like freeing up RAM, running maintenance scripts, etc. Clean My Mac also removes malware and adware agents and builds an interactive map of your Mac storage so that you can get all the information you need at a quick glance whenever you need it. Also, because macOS Catalina will not be supporting 32-bit applications any longer, which could be half of your apps collection, Clean My Mac X automatically detects 32-bit apps and deletes them right away with all their parts and leftovers terminated the right way. And with the updater feature, you'll be instantly getting 64-bit replacements for your software if and when those apps are available. So go ahead and click the link in the description down below to check out more information about Clean My Mac. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.